is leadership, what are the skills which are essential for the teachers, and why these skills are needed or something. Let us first ponder on a few things. And very important thing is I have tried making it little non-technical. So we won't be discussing only concepts here today. We will basically discuss about the concept of umbrella term of leadership in general. What are its characteristics? And as a teacher, where do you need those? And why you should imbibe those skills in you? Are they really essential for you for your professional growth, as well as is there any relation of these skills in your personal life also? So these are certain aspects I have focused on today. So I am Dr. Vidya Nagre. I'm an academician with around 14 years of experience and 10 years of research experience. I have done my PhD from Savitribai Phule Pune University in lexical features of English, and I am also a PhD guide. I am the head of the department here, and I have worked on various leadership roles previously also, and I have headed certain events, organized events also. I have been a part of larger events like convocations of the university and foundation days and many more things, where I receive an opportunity to know what is being a national leader, what are the leaderships, what is being a team player. So these are certain skills I have imbibed in me throughout various experiences, such as I have organized various conferences, events, training programs, and I also have faced significant university committees like NAC, ISO, UGC, which are very crucial committees where your all skills are high-level skills are tested with the best possible way. So at the same time, I also keep interest in literature as well as language teaching. I am also a coach, a trainer. I have been training since last around 20 years. And I was also a director of one of the reputed institute here in Pune for training English language and competitive English also. So this is a brief about me. Now let us move on to today's topic. So before we go directly to our today's topic, we have certain pre-visits here. So this pre-visit is peeping into your past and just going into our college days, university days, not as a teacher, but as a student. So have you ever been impacted by any teacher in your life? If you really want, you can unmute yourself and interact with me. I'm okay with that. Or else you can write in the chat box, or you can even ponder on this. So you must have been impacted. When I ask this question, certain faces of some teachers, school teachers, college teachers, university teachers might have been reflected, flashed in front of your eyes. So what were those impacts? Were those bad impacts or good impacts? If those were bad impacts, are these things still pain you in your heart? Or did that impacted you in a bad way? If it is a good impact, then has it changed your life? Has it given you a path to lead to your success, or has it given a direction for your career or progress in your life? How many of you do really memorize your best teachers' teaching techniques or teaching strategies while you prepare for your own strategies now as a teacher? Is there anything, for example, some very remarkable university professor who was expert in the field that you or subject that you have chosen, you are a teacher of now? So do you really remember or memorize their techniques? Do you feel like adopting those strategies or reaching to that level? Do you have that kind of target in front of you? Do you think teachers can make or break a life of a student? What do you think about this? Who was the decision maker in a true sense in your school, college, or university when you were a student? Not necessarily every time there should be somebody very remarkable, but throughout your years of studies, you might have noted some very prominent, impressive, influencing personalities. who always used to be there in the decision making of your college or university, or even in school events or other kind of organizing things. Um, right now, at your workplace, who is a leader now? Besides the designation, let's say, not necessarily every time principal is the leader or vice chancellor is the leader. What are the qualities you think besides that designation? That designation gives them opportunity to be the leader. But as a leader, if you consider that person to be the leader, then what are the qualities you think that person has that make her or him a leader? What are the prominent qualities that person has which is making that person as a leader? Not only designation. Definitely designation give a chance to be a leader, but do you observe or note down any other essential qualities in that person? See, if your answers are ready with all these questions, then by now I hope that you have understood a basic concept of leadership, why leadership is needed, and why leadership is needed for the teacher. Because teachers do create a large impact on the lives of students. And that is why we have to be very careful about our own persona, our own personalities. Many students model upon the personality of teachers. In the home, they are very observant and they do follow their parents. So parents have to be very careful while putting the model in front of the students or their children. But when the students enter into the large family of their school, college, or university, then they start identifying the right model for them. They have their likings for many teachers for various reasons. They may have disliking also. So you have to be careful about these things because these all are human ultimately. And your simple behavior, a small act, is going to influence somebody's life in a positive or in a negative way. That is why, as a teacher, the moment you step into this role, no, the moment you be in these shoes, you have to make sure that now onwards your journey starts in order to mold your personality really well. You have to be very responsible. You can't say like I am not on. Now another thing. Let us first glance through this definition of leader first. Okay. Um, so what is leader basically? The characteristic and abilities of the individuals that empower them to oversee tasks, direct ventures, and their groups towards the achievement of targets are known as leadership capacities. What are the skills? The skills are the one who has the capacity to fulfill the task, to execute the task in the successful way, to direct the ventures or the group that they are leading towards the achievement or successful finishing of the task or the completion of the task or achievement of the task. These skills are known as leadership skills. Now, who are the true leaders? True leaders are those who has commitment, who has curiosity, who has collaboration, and who has a courage. This is a definition of a true leader. These are the essentials of a true leader. Now, as a teacher, what do you think? Where are you going to use these leadership skills and why do you need those? Basically, leadership skills are needed for teacher for varieties of purposes. But before we go for understanding the purposes of various leadership skills among the teachers, we should first understand various characteristics of the leadership altogether. What are the skills? We're talking about skills, right? Now understand you have to also focus on the word skills. Skill is something that is not the inborn ability. Please understand this particular concept first. Skills are always learned, mastered after right practices, several attempts, and very focused approaches. You can always imbibe or master any skill in your life, but you need a dedicated and committed approach towards it. So never ever think that I am not on any leadership role. Why do I need that leadership then? I'm just a simple teacher in my school or in my college. I have somebody else as a head, somebody else as a dean, or somebody else as a principal, vice chancellor, vice president, or a chairman, or something like that. I'm not in a leadership position. I'm not in the leadership capacity. This is something that you may think, but this is not a reality. Once you become a teacher, you are going to actually lead a huge mob who will be completely relying on you. Your actions, your one act of kindness or one act of rudeness or one act of harshness is going to make or going to impact on the lives of this particular group. So for that group, you are a leader. Even in our house, though we are living in the family of 2, 4, or many, at times you become a leader. When somebody takes a decision, when you give a consent to that decision, yes or no, you become automatically a leader. So understand leadership is there in every aspect of life. So first of all, understand leadership is very important. You cannot skip leadership or you cannot minus leadership from your personal or professional life. It is an essential and obligatory part of our lives. So better accept this fact and let us now start working on imbibing or gaining quality leadership skills, good leadership skills. So we can lead successful professional as well as personal life. Our journey becomes smooth. Okay. So if you have accepted the fact that leadership is highly important for each one of us, whatever role you are playing, whatever designation you are holding, and whatever capacities you are in, then let us now turn towards understanding various leadership skills. Now, leadership skills does have multiple facets. First is open communication. The person now, there are two concepts, those will come in open conversation here. Open conversation means again immediately comes in a mind introvert and extrovert or social word, right? So do you think that introverts are not good leaders? They can be good leaders too, because they do have very excellent observation skills, because they most of the introverts are really good listeners. So good listening is also one of the capacity that comes under communication. So when you say about open communication, we have to basically focus on four basic factors of communications. LSRW: listening, reading, speaking, writing. Because communication happens from oral and written way. It has verbal and non-verbal way also. So when you are a professional, you have to make sure that you master various structures, formats of business communication or professional communication, written and oral both, verbal and non-verbal both. You also have to start working on your body cues. You have to start working on your personality. The way you stand, the way you act, the way you move, the way you sit, the way you speak, behave, the way you use your body language, like gestures, postures, hand movements, that is haptics, kinesis, the sense of touch, gaps, the movement of smoothly moving or using the stage, moving between the students, approaching to the students. All these things come under this open communication. Now, some of you might be little introvert by nature, but when you become a teacher, you have to make sure that you communicate appropriately with each and every student. Because as a teacher, you should be approachable. You should have a fair knowledge about every candidate in your class. It should not be like you are just coming here, giving a lecture and going home. This won't happen. This will not be done. Because now teachers' role has been changed a lot. Teachers are now no more the lecturers as it used to be in the traditional way of teaching. Teachers are not even the dictators in the class, as previously it used to happen when teacher used to dominate the classes and students just used to listen. They never used to have any courage to ask any question. They were not even allowed to ask any doubts or something. So there used to be certain kind of environments of traditional classes. But now the world has changed. Aptitude have changed. There had happened a lot of research, innovations, discoveries in the field of education also, in which we have been suggested to adopt inductive approach of teaching in class. Now, in inductive approach, student is at the center and teacher plays the role of a mentor, motivator, or a guide. So we are there to just give a direction to the next person, to help the person in need. You are there to let the student experiment. You are there to let the student struggle, attempt, fail, and learn on their own. But you have to be by their side. So when they may take a flight, fall down, you will catch them and you will give them correct direction. So in the next attempt, they will successfully take a flight. So these are certain capacities in which we are there in the class. So that is why you have to start working on your communication skills first. So open communication is the important asset or the characteristic of a leader. And this skill is very highly important for us to adopt for our personal and professional both lives. So as a teacher, you are not only dealing with students, you are also dealing with your fellow mates, your colleagues, your seniors, your juniors, right? And you have to, in order to have a smooth functioning of the task. For example, you need some information. You have to go and approach to the correct department. You should ask for the assistant to the correct person. You should have an open access, open approach while interacting with people. So please start working on this skill first. This is the primary basic skill of the leadership. Now, second important thing here comes is empathy. Now, why empathy? Being a teacher, you should always be in capacity to understand the situations of the students. Nowadays, or it is just a classic statement every time we hear that everybody says that, oh my God, this generation is very different. We never used to behave like that. We never used to do this. Even our previous generation says the same thing about us, right? The world is changing very fast and life is very dynamic. So what happens? That you have to make sure that you accept the fact that these children are undergoing certain different sets of pressure. They are also undergoing certain kind of changes in their life. At the same time, the crowd that you handle, they also belong to various ages. So according to age, there is happening lot of biological changes, lot of mental changes, and everything actually hampers or reflects in the approach of the student. At the same time, when you are also dealing with your colleagues or your seniors or your juniors, understand this all are human beings playing multiple roles in multiple capacities. Somebody is somebody's sister, brother, wife, or even a mother, or when you come in college you are a head of the department, or you are the principal of the school, or you might be an administrative assistant or something like that. So everybody is playing multiple roles, and there are some blurred boundaries between it. So it may happen that somebody has had very severe incident at the home and the person is not able to cope with the emotions, and here somebody is behaving in a very erratic way. So understand, if something is happening like that, rather than responding to anger in the angry way, you better have calm approach, patience, and understand why somebody is behaving like this first, and then you decide your approach and your stand. Because anger, reaction to anger doubles the anger, it does not subside the anger, understand. So your emotional quotient here has to be very high. You might have heard about this terminology, emotional intelligence, right? So this emotional intelligence means being able to handle our own emotions as well as others' emotions also. So if you are capable to handle your own emotions at the workplace, as well as emotions of the others, then you will be called as a true leader. Especially in the classroom situations, nowadays what happened? Students do have access to the easy researches. So they are rather knowledgeable than we used to be in that age, because they do have access. Their research is ready on the fingertip. Just on one click, they get the information. So they have uh, already knowledge or something that you come ahead with as a source of knowledge to them. They may think as this to be not true, because they are relying on some external sources, which might be wrong also. Because let's say if we are Google searching information, then understand not necessarily every source is authentic. So these students are also relying on unauthentic sources, which is really hampering for their growth also. There comes your role, rather than scolding them if they react in a weird way, rather than reacting them in the same way. You have to be very empathetic in the approach. Now understand, here is a difference between sympathy and empathy. I'm not saying being sympathetic. Sympathetic is feeling sorry for someone, and you also start feeling sorry then, and you get drifted away in the emotion of the next person. If somebody is in grief, you also start feeling grief. You also go in grief. You also start feeling sorry. That is sympathy. Empathy means you can understand the next person's situation, and out of humanity, you accept that, oh, feeling like this is very natural. But you do not overreact to that in a positive or negative way. You just have a very objective approach and you handle that situation, or you react to that person in that way, in a very objective or neutral way. So if you have empathetic approach, then you will be able to give concrete solutions to the situations, various situations. If you become sympathetic or emotionally drifted, then you won't be able to handle any kind of situations then. Third important aspect of leadership is strategically leaning. Now, strategic leaning is what? In your class, you may have varieties of students. Not all students do have same kind of liking, aptitude, right? Same in your group of colleagues also. If you are leading a team of colleagues, team of teachers also, it is the same for you also. You have to understand, if you want to get the task executed, you have to first check the liking of people, and according to that you have to put them in the execution of certain type of task, rather than putting them into something which is just not a cup of tea of them. For example, somebody who is really good in calculations or data handling, put those persons in data scrutiny or documentation. But if somebody is very creative, do not put them in documentation. Put them into innovation, innovative practices, execution of the tasks, arrangement of the events. These people will do that really well. If somebody does have really good elocution or speech abilities, give that person the chance of anchoring, or ask that person to handle, welcome the guest. Give that person that, ushering the guest to the venue of the event. So accordingly that, it is a skillful technique or brilliant strategy of a leader, brilliance of the leader rather, to identify the leading of the candidates, and according to that, fitting them into the correct roles. Now, creativity. Creativity is highly important because creativity keeps the things dynamic, and it kills the monotony of the patterns. For example, if you think that students are not able to understand something, or they are not responding to your certain appeal in a proper way. For example, you have planned a competition and you want some volunteers, and you are appealing the students for that, and then students are not responding. They are not willingly going for volunteering the event, or not even participating in the event, and this is really sad. Alone you cannot execute that task, right? Same with your colleagues. What can you do in this way? You can put the same thing in a very creative way. in a very positive way by showing that how beneficial it is for them. You can even make sure that you will give them letters of appreciation, or certifications of volunteering or something like that, or some grade points. In this way, you should think about various strategies here. At the same time, when you plan your lessons, when you plan any meeting, or when you plan any kind of presentation also as a teacher, you have to give a presentation. Do not go for typical ready-made data that is available. Always better put energy in understanding the stuff that you are going to deal with. Put energy in making it little interesting, creative. Nowadays, at least fortunately, we have a lot of things available. For example, you have very amazing making platforms which are very creative. You also enjoy doing that. You also you also get a lot of free images also, which you can use to make your ppts more interesting. At the same time, you can even plan about execution of certain thing in not only in ppt presentation, in a different way. You can enact in class. You can take help of your fellow colleagues, and you all can do something together. You can create a model. You can bring material and ask students to gather together and let's build something out of that, something like this. This kind of creative approach, this kind of initiatives are going to generate interest in students, and they will also learn upon you. They will look upon you as a really good learning model, and this is going to be helpful for their future careers. You should always have a positive attitude as a leader. For example, whatever the situation, you should not feel sink down at heart. If you fail or sit down like that, then nobody is there to handle that situation. So you should always have a positive approach of thinking like whatever happens, we are going to find out the solution. There is some way to get out of this, or there is some really good way to just execute this task. And you should always have a positive approach of believing in the capacities of your children, also students, or even fellow colleagues, that we are going to execute the task very successfully. Now, this positive approach of yours is going to pass on your team members. They are also going to get contaminated by your positive approach, and that is going to make or keep the environment of that team very healthy, positive, and live. So they all will very energetically participate in the task, and the task will definitely get executed successfully. Even if you fail at the execution, you are not successful, that's also okay. You can, even in the positive way, think that this was a very good learning lesson for us. So next time we can work on the minuses that we have had in the execution of this task. So next time we'll do better than this. So in this way, you should have a positive approach, looking at everything that comes forth as a leader. Very important skill of a leader is flexibility. You should be adaptable to every situation that comes forth. Many times there will be some last minute changes. It may happen that there comes certain situation and you have to stand and handle that out. You should not think that, oh, I'm very rigid. You should not be rigid like that. I'm going to teach only in this way. I want only this kind of execution. It may happen that some student will come out with some solution or some kind of different proposal. Ma'am, I won't be doing in this way. I want to do it in other way. For example, if there is a group of students, you have given a group task to students, and you have asked them to make a group of 5. Now, there are some 3-4 students left behind who do not have a group, and now others are going ready to adopt them or accept them in their group, but the group size will change. It will become 6, or they are living nearby, they want to go somewhere, survey and come back, and that will be beneficial for them. So they are requesting you, ma'am, kindly allow us to take one more candidate. Be flexible in these situations. Unless and until the result is coming, your flexibility is not going to hamper your situation. Being flexible means your target should not get hampered even if you change the plan. And flexible approach always gives you the attitude of problem resolving also. So even in the situation of crisis, your flexibility actually helps you out to look at the situation in a different way, and always ready to adopt, mold yourself in that situation and find out the solution. So that is the very important aspect a leader should have. Now, settling debates. As there are multiple minds going to be in a team, there will come multiple ideas. At the same time, multiple arguments also. Not all people do have same kind of thought process. So it is the task of a team leader to handle the situations of debate or arguments and settle those very carefully, very skillfully, without hurting or insulting any of those. Being strict, humble, but very firm. So your word has to be the last word. In this way, you should have a very strong foot handling or settling the debates at that time. Time management is a very important skill, which is highly important leading a personal as well as professional life. So you should be able to execute, plan your time in a proper way, at the same time execute your plan as per the decided time slot with little flexibility in it. Reliability is highly essential leadership skill. If you are reliable, only then people are going to open their hearts to you. They are going to share the information, and only authentic kind of task will be executed. If you are not reliable, people will always have a doubt while approaching to you. They will not open up, and the task will not get executed in a proper way. A good leader is always a good mentor. Now, leadership does not mean dominating your team. You can also give the freedom to your team members to work according to their inclinations, to according to their flexibility also, but monitoring their task. By monitoring their task, at the same time mentoring them, guiding them wherever you think it's going wrong. So your team members can be your students or can be your um, uh, colleagues also. So if you think that the task is not picking up the speed that was supposed to be taken or going in a correct direction where it has to be gone, you can jump in the field at that time and again push them towards that direction, or push them little, speed up them, and again you can stand besides and let them work. So the good leader is always a good team player, not always a dictator. You do not have to sit on the chariot and give the orders others to pull the chariot. If the chariot is not, if you want to pull the chariot along with other people, you also have to jump on the field and start pulling the chariot on your own, being the first one to pull, so others will automatically come and join you, and you build your team here. Identifying potential of people and then giving them opportunity of leadership also is very important. Organization is a highly essential leadership skill. So for example, organizing various events, meetings, let's say as a teacher. At the same time, delegation, that is delegation is execution of the task, fulfilling the duties and distributing the task. A very important and excellent leadership skill is distribution of the task. You should not pull everything on you and decide that I am going to do everything, each and everything very carefully. I'm going to give invitations to the guests. I'm going to make the planning. I'm going to go receive them. I am the only one who will be doing anchoring. I'm the only one who will be handling the whole situation and everything. Don't do that. As a leader, you will be just monitor. You just have to monitor the event, and you have to distribute each and every task equally between your fellow mates, team members, according to their capacities. This is the skill, and which is really difficult, and please believe me. And this is what you have to learn. You have to learn, and for that you can start doing it from small events. A very good leader always give a feedback to the teammates. For example, if they are doing good, or something is going wrong, or something is not going correct or something like that, or some correction is needed, you should always give feedback. So feedback, sometimes appreciating them, motivating them, promoting them, but it doesn't mean that you should pull their legs down. You can handle them very properly by appreciating their capacity, or being them as a valuable team member there. But need, or how essential it is for them to put more energy in the execution of the task. So in this way, you can simply handle both kind of feedbacks, positive and negative both. As a leader, it is going to happen for sure. You are going to be under stress, because for the success or the execution of any task, the senior authorities, higher authorities are going to look at you, not at your team members. They are going to consider you for the success or for the failure also. So definitely there will be a lot of stress on you. So do not ever think, because many people, give up or take a step back by thinking that, oh my God, I cannot handle this stressful situation. I can become a very good team player or team member. I don't want to become a leader. Don't think like that. You should be able to handle various situations. Okay. Though you can handle small situation, that's also okay. You can learn leadership from small situations too. And every leader, however the excellent leader is, though it's a country's leader or some major institutions leader, everybody faces this challenge, because we all are human beings. Nervousness, stress is very natural and normal. Understand? Now, here are some different styles of leadership. I'm just going to glance through it quickly. Authoritative leadership. These kind of leaders usually push their teammates to pursue common goals. Affiliate leaders, affiliative leaders are people um, who want their team to trust on them. The team members also trust on them, and they feel safe going. So these leaders are very approachable. Authoritative leaders, little dominators, because in certain situation you have to be like that. If your team members are confused, they are not taking decision, they are not taking action, then that time you have to go and decide on their behalf, and you have to give commands so they can start working or marching towards the goal. Democratic leader gives opportunity to each and every team member to put forth their opinions, or to be the part of their decision making, final decision making. And this kind of leader always seek the feedback from each and every member. There is another type of leader, that is peace setting leader. What is peace setting leader? This kind of leader identifies the inclinations, likings of the teammates and execute the task accordingly. So it helps maintaining the harmony in the class as well as in the team also. Pace setting leaders essentially focuses on the practice of leading by example inside and outside the classroom. So they give a model to the students or to the teammates that how should be the task executed. So these are certain things about the leadership skills, styles basically. Now, this is something is very important. As a teacher, where are you going to use this leadership skill? Mind this, believe me, you need these skills, leadership skills, at each and every step that you will be taking as a teacher. For example, in directing the classroom sessions, making students pay attention to you, making students execute certain activity. For example, during class, you ask some question, they answer. You can give some task or activity for them to complete. Might be individual or might be in team. So you are leading them, you are directing them, you are deciding their movements, their actions. So you are a leader there in the class. Now, executing the plans. So you may have certain plans like, I want to give some team activity now. So you can make teams of people, that is your decision. These five people will be in one team, those another five will be another, this person will be an add-on in this team, or this team will research on India's economy, other team will research on agriculture in India, something like that. So you are taking all the decisions and leading the activities, so the student will gain knowledge, they will grow. So executing the plan in the classroom means for the growth, for the benefit, for the betterment of the students. Now, building the team spirit among the students. Many times it happens that students do not easily gel up with each other. They have clashes when you make team, or when you also ask them to make their own team and give them some tasks. Some of the students are there always who do not want to do anything. They just want free marks or free execution. And others get irritated by that. And then these students do have clashes in them. It may happen in reverse way also, that there might be some more than one natural leader in the class, in the team, and that person wants to dominate the whole team, wants others to listen them. They might be nurtured in that way. So in certain cases, you have to make sure that you settle the arguments among the students. If there are two dominant students in one group, you can teach them what are the essential qualities of the team leader, not dominating others, but being a team player, letting others also to become leaders, decide, execute. But wherever nobody can act or nobody has the capacity to do something, there comes the role of a leader. That is a challenging task a leader can complete, which is not easy to be completed by common team members or other team members who are not leaders. This is what you can teach them and build a team spirit among them. At the same time, they should have healthy competitive approach to each other. So throughout certain case studies, samples, examples, some activities, you can teach these kind of things to the students. Leading the team of fellow colleagues. Here also you need leadership skill. Now, not necessary that you are a junior teacher and you always have to go and attend meetings. Definitely some task is going to befall on you. Like, this is an event, organize with the help of some other people maybe, or let's say organizing or arranging for the examination, assessment, or some field visit, industrial visit, tour, or something like that. Execution of certain plan or government policies in your teaching or in your classes also. All these things, all these places where you will need leadership skill. Even if you plan to organize one meeting where your fellow colleagues are going to attend it out, here you have the task to lead that meeting successfully without any kind of argument should happen. You give equal opportunity for each and everyone to speak, but you should be able to hold that end the speaking also when it goes it becomes unnecessary, or direct the talking of people. If somebody is going off beat, you can bring that person politely back to the track. For example, if you are discussing on the annual plan of the university, what are the annual events those should happen, then if somebody is constantly talking about what past things happened, and then suddenly they start talking about particular past event where what has gone wrong, who had done something wrong, and how that should have been corrected, and they suddenly start go into argument, or they go become more nostalgic. At that time, you can jump in and you can say, it is quite interesting to listen from the experienced teachers like you, who have been associated with the institute from a longer time, and you had been part of these previous events also, so you have larger experience. We definitely would like to have that experience in the planning of the this year's annual events. So kindly contribute or kindly ponder, let's ponder on, or give your views on what we can do in the month of March or in the month of May. In this way, you can bring them particular field so they can exactly talk on that particular point. So this is where your skill is needed, your leadership skill is needed. Uh, as I already told, organizing events, executing those events. Even organizing event is not just one task. When you plan to organize event, you have to first plan for a team. You have to build a team. So you should choose correct people, identify people. So they might be your students, they might be your colleagues, and give the task accordingly. At the same time, you have to keep monitoring, keep connecting to them, keep taking feedback from them. What is the status of the word, if this has been this is going in correct direction, because all these things are going to be ultimately add on into the success. Decision making may come at any time for any kind of reason. So this decision making might be for your uh, class assignment. You may have to decide about the certain action of the student, or if some student want to go for something, let's say for competition, if they want some excuse in that, then there you have to make a decision that what kind of arrangements you can make for that student, and something like that. At the same time, if somebody is absent, some of your colleagues is absent, and some event is organized by somebody else altogether, and that person, unfortunately, due to sudden incident happen, cannot come or something, that time, here comes the leadership role. You were not in the scene, not in the picture of that event, but you can take that task voluntarily on your own. You can be a part of it, and you can execute that event successfully in whatever capacity you have. And this is what is a true leader. You cannot say that, oh, it was somebody else's, better you cancel the event. Because if you cancel the event, it is going to impact on the larger mass which has been preparing or which has prepared for that event, right? So ultimately there is a huge chain which collapses later on. So in these situations, you should be able to make a correct decision. Now decision making skill is highly important. For example, you are sitting in your you if you are in a classroom, and suddenly a student faints and falls down. You should be able to make a quick decision there, calling some fellow colleague, or you can ask other students to give her water or something, and you can call to the medical aid available on the campus. You can call the parents and ask for the medical history, if that person has allergy of certain drugs or something, and immediately you can execute the same, or report the same to the principal or the higher authority. So you all together can take a decision of if that person needs further medical assistance outside or not. So in this way, you should be able to immediately decide that out. Now here comes very important situation. Then what about the class? What is happening? Here in this situation, you can either request some other teacher to handle the class for timing. You can give some tasks to students, or you can ask the monitor to conduct certain activity in class, or else you can ask somebody else to assist that uh, patient, and you can be there in the class. So in this way, you should be able to make sure that nothing should get disturbed by your just one decision. The decision should be complementary. Now, when as a teacher, you may have to interact with the parents, stakeholders also. So there also comes your leadership skill. So leadership skill, under which is the convincing skill comes. You are the representative of your school. You represent your school uh, on the in the school events, on the school level, or even or college level or university level, or even outside university for various events, competitions, uh, conferences, seminars, lectures, something. So understand, everywhere there needs this confidence. There needs this leadership skill in you. So understood, as a teacher, you have multiple kind of incidences, multiple stages in your life where you need this leadership skill. You can never think like that, I'm not on a leadership role, so I don't need that. Leadership role is just one way of allowing someone to be in that position, but you are always in the leading conditions or in leading roles, though the groups are small. Now, as a teacher or as a leader, what are your roles here basically? You have to be a motivator, mentor, decision maker. You should always be focused, strategic. Should have innovative approaches and collaborative approaches. Whenever needed, you should take help of other fellow mates, or even you can take help of students also to execute some activity. You should not think like I want to do everything. Innovative approach is highly important because that brings creativity, liveliness in the execution of the fact, and the success ratio also becomes higher. Strategy planning is highly essential. Unplanned things hardly become successful. So please understand, always invest energy in doing proper research, investing in quality strategic planning, time management, and executing that plan. These qualities not only help teacher improve learning outcomes, but also help build community, encourage inclusivity, and create a culture of continuous improvement for themselves, their colleagues, and their students also. Ultimately, everybody gets benefited by this kind of attitude in the teacher. Leading with vision and purpose. Always remember, we have great examples. You might have observed that I have been using some of the best teachers in India ever had. For example, first you might have seen Mahatma Phule and Savitribai Phule, because they were the true leaders in that particular scenario, in that particular time when people were not in the mentality to allow the education to women. He had taken a lead because he had the vision, foresightedness that educated women is the future of the nation. And that is why there are some slogans written by the you might have seen written on boards by the government also, that an educated mother makes the whole family educated, right? So in the same way, with this vision, he took a lead. He educated his wife. But now, does it mean that he was a leader and she was not? She was a team player initially, but later on, slowly, he had passed the complete responsibility of being leader on the shoulder of Savitri Bai, who later on took a lead. Even after the humiliation of people, she every day went there in the school. She had some plan. She used to carry her extra clothes so she can change in the class, because teachers' appearance matters a lot. If you have good appearance, your students feel encouraged. If she would have gone with those dirty clothes, the students would have got scared and they would not have ever dared to come there. But they saw her efforts. They just admire her as a leader because she was a very good example of being a leader. And then she, along with the help of her husband, she executed uh, the women education in the most successful way. And that is why we all are here also. Now, APJ Abdul Kalam was another amazing example who truly who makes this line true, leading with vision and purpose. So he gives a very good kind of model for us as a teachers also, how a teacher has to be. Teachers should always have goals in their life, goals for their personal and professional growth, and goals for the growth of their students also, how they can be better in your subject, how your subject should be or will be beneficial for them to earn the life skills, because life skills are very important. How the teachings from you or kind of practices, kind of directions you have given will be helpful for them in order to become successful professionals in their life. So in this way, you should have a clear goal in your mind, and with this purpose you should always plan things and execute those plans accordingly. We had another amazing example of a really good teacher in India, that was Swami Vivekananda. So Communication and influencing to communication are two very important qualities every teacher must have as a leader. For that, how can you bring these qualities in you? Imbibing good communication skill is highly important in every teacher. Every teacher has to be a very good communicator. For that, you have to start working on your communication skill. Start talking, opening dialogues, more and more dialogues in the professional world, like with your colleagues on some very quality topics, like your subject, some latest happening. You can open the talk in the classroom also, bring the newspaper, discuss the headlines. So it is going to improve your communication skills and the students' communication skill also. Every good leader should have a persuasive ability. Persuasive talk always wins the race or always wins the situation. So you should be able to pursue the people, convince them to believe you or to agree with you. You should always be humble. Even if some student react to you in a very bad way, you should be always humble, calm, and polite to that student, but you should be very firm. For example, I would really like to help you, but I am right now busy with some other activities. So what does it mean? It means plain no, I cannot help you. But here you are being very humble, but you are also being firm at the same time. Adaptability is another essential thing that, or essential quality that every good leader must have. So you should always adapt to the situations. As a teacher, you are going to teach several generations. Understand? So every batch is not going to be the same. You are going to face varieties of experiences and be adaptable to the batches that you are going to face. Do not employ your approaches forcefully on them. Sometimes, wherever needed, please be flexible according to the need of that crowd. Change your strategies, change your techniques. Always master power language. Speaking to influence. If you, for this, what you can do is please observe, listen carefully the speeches of the great leaders, national and international, like the speeches of Swami Vivekananda. He said the first line, "My dear sisters and brothers," and he won the heart of millions. What he did, he used a powerful language. If you listen, there is a really amazing example of a speech by Martin Luther King Jr., where he, after the Emancipation Proclamation in America, he addressed to the mob, huge mob of disillusioned Negroes, Black people, Black Americans, at the Winston Churchill Hall, in order to appeal them to believe in themselves, have trust in a good future, and have patience and maintain harmony. And his one speech actually made changes. Before that, there were just riots. There were people used to rob, people used to steal. There was lot of fight, murders, and many things. His one speech changed the whole scenario and made Black Americans stay in America harmoniously. So just check it out, the way he uses language, how, what kind of word choices he has. Not only that, you have also have to work on your tone of the voice, intonation. That also changes where you can give emphasis while speaking, how you can make sure that your whole class is paying attention to you. Next 15 minutes, next 30 minutes, I am going to dominate, rule the whole mob. This kind of attitude you should have. But not only attitude, for that attitude you should do preparations, you should plan things, you should choose your words very wisely. Always have best practices like self discipline, which definitely reflects in your talk, in your class teaching, in your arranging and handling the meetings or handling the events. Your one session itself can be a representative. If you have really worked or researched on this topic, have you put efforts to make it more interesting? Have you put efforts to make it creative so students can adopt it in a best possible way? So these best practices are highly essential. Crisis leadership management is another essential key, which is also a life skill. Crisis management is actually concerned with the short term response, but crisis leadership is about long term planning. So, what are the things come under this? And how can you adopt that crisis leadership? In the extreme situation, how can you handle that situation? How do you lead that situation and make that situation or turn that situation into a positive situation? This is what is a crisis leadership. How can you imbibe the skill in you? Participate in the in-house as well as external competitions and events of your university or school. Okay, you can start practicing it from your own house also. Organize small events at your house, in your house. Call just few people and just arrange things. Take pen and paper, make a list of things that you require for that event. What timing will you start it? What are the things you will offer to your guest as a host? What are other essential? Try to contact with various people. How will you send invitee? What will you do during the visit of your guest? How will you say goodbye? Are you planning to give some token of appreciation, token of love to them? In this way, plan some small event. If somebody invites you, please go and attend events and observe what kind of arrangement they do. They are also sample of leaders at that moment. Learn from those examples. Build the teachers brainstorming club, so you all can gather together for not for formal meetings here, for really good discussions on various topics where your commercial skills get groomed, your persuasive skills get groomed, your group discussion skills get groomed. You become a very good leader, directing the whole group to the correct direction also. You can also handle certain one event of that club also. Discuss various case studies also with your colleagues in your class. You also study various case studies of how somebody handled certain situation of crisis as a leader, what kind of solution that person found out. You can even study the case studies of failure also and try to identify what best possible things that person would have done to solve that situation. This also gives your positive attitude, at the same time problem solving skill. For that, you don't have to fall in certain situation. You can learn from others experiences also. For that, keep on reading a lot, keep on researching a lot, keep on communicating a lot to the correct people. Critical thinking skill is highly important. For that, always try to look at the situation from multiple angles, being neutral, being objective. Brain wiring is essential whenever needed. Rather than sinking down at heart in the tough situation, you rewire your brain and start giving confidence to yourself. It's okay. It's okay. Whatever has happened, happened. This is the law of life. Things happen in this way. Ultimately, I'm a human being. I'm not a god. Or the next person was like that. Next person might be in certain situation. It's okay. Now, let us think or focus on how to handle this situation, how to come out of this situation. In this way, you have to calm down your brain by brain wiring, thinking in a different way in that situation, and coming out of that situation. Always have discipline and good practices. Make sure that you build your effective team. Like Sudhamurthy is really best example for that. See, here are two stalwarts we do have, who were the best leaders in India as well as best teacher leaders. So identify your team members in advance. Though it is from your class in the form of students, identify the students who will be there whenever you will call to execute any event or who has the capacity. Same with your colleague. Always be ready with plan A, B, C. In case of one fails, you should have another option ready. Always become a team player. Being a team player, you should always put your ego out of the threshold. Allow others also to lead. Accept the commands from others and properly follow those. Do not take it on your ego. Being a team leader, whenever your team needs, You should take decision for them on behalf of them, and take responsibility of whatever happens, success or failure, and lead your team with that confidence and give that confidence to your teammates. Cooperate to all and associate with multiple brilliant minds, because you may need their help anytime. You should always enhance your social outreach, so you get connected to really good people, uh, and your circle also expands. Building communities is also very important. Be part of various academic communities. Participate in various forums organized by your university or organized by other university, or some private forums also. Make sure as a teacher you should be a member of some professional group in your subject of specialization, and also if possible associate with them. If they need a certain examination to be given, fill the form, give their test, and become associate there, because that is going to give you chance to stay yourself updated. At the same time, you also get chance to see some excellent teacher leaders there, so you can learn from those examples. Always become accessible. Even if you are a leader, do not dominate, do not even create fear in the heart of your team members. You should be approachable to them, so whatever problem they come forth, you will always find the loopholes in the plan, and you will also get certain solutions also from them. Knowing your boundaries is also very important. Now here, being a team member means you should not open all the doors to all, so anybody can come and anybody can go. This will affect your personal life and it will ruin your mental peace. So always make sure that you should work on your own health first. You should work on your own personality first. Always love yourself, take proper care of yourself, mental and physical health also. For that, eat really well, practice exercises, do yoga, meditation practices, listen really good lectures, listen good quality stuff. At the same time, always have very healthy and pure relationship. Stay away from toxic people, toxic kind of talks also. Never ever engage yourself in backbiting people, or leave away from certain crowd. Even in your team, if you see somebody doing like this, call that person in person and have a talk with that person, and warn that person in a very polite way that that person should quit that ability, because that may spoil the healthy environment of your team. Because as a team leader, it will affect your own responsibility first. Always be empathetic and human to others. We have seen what is empathy already. Always, as a leader, as a teacher, as a professional, we all, even as a student, we all must have this important thing in us, that is research. Always research, so you keep yourself updated and you always handle your situations really well. Now, along with this comes some important things like decision making that I have already talked about, and how can you respond to the situation of crisis. Implement crisis response plan. You should always think about various situations, imagine, and how can you react to that situation. So it always, this imagination always helps you to act in a proper way in the reality, in real situations. Remain calm and optimistic. Show empathy and communicate with your teammates also. Now, always take a time to look at back. After finishing one round, take a pause in your life, sit there and look back and see how much distance you have covered so far. And always appreciate yourself for coming from that point till this. Measure your success of leadership. So, what do people look for in an outstanding leader here? Always look back, contemplate on success and failure also. But do not criticize here. Always objectively analyze. Do not appreciate yourself and feel, wow, I am the only one. Not like that. Appreciate yourself, but do not condemn yourself for the failures. You always think about various remedies, how you could have covered the situation, what you would have done. So in future, if certain kind of situation comes, you will be able to handle that. To err is human. This is a natural and normal thing. Understand. So if you have committed certain mistake, do not condemn yourself, do not criticize yourself for that. It's okay in certain situation. Always have futuristic plan and think about your next move. If your failures need to be repaired for the future benefits, then plan how will you repair those. If something is beyond repair, leave that thing behind and then have plan foolproof things for your future activities. So as a team member or as a team leader, you should always measure your success and failure both. Read this line, please. A team always wants a leader who is empathetic to their own situation. They should understand their own roles and situations also. So, in this way, you can measure your success and failure. As a leader, you should be a constant learner. What you should do for that? Research. Leader is always a lifetime learner. Unusual events come, such as pandemic had come, have a positive approach as this is a learning opportunity or opportunity growth. Be creative, learn creative things, adopt from others' examples, model upon really good teacher leaders who are superior to you. Practicing innovating approaches will also make you really good learner as well as leader. So learn new things in your life. Though you are teacher of mathematics, learn art, learn some sport. That is also going to keep your mental and physical health good, which will help you out to constantly keep going on professional front also. Learning from others example and leading by example is very important. For this, you can go for a lot of case studies. You can research in the history and dig out some examples from there. Communicating in a time of crisis is very vital. You will get mental blocks. Understand, there will be a dead end. You will get caught in the chakravyuha that you have woven. Recognize this kind of situation and ask for the helping hand. Do not feel nervous. Do not feel ashamed. Do not feel egoistic in this situation, because this is very natural with all kind of leaders. Take a break, do something different, have a change, and come back and look at the problem again from with a new beginning, and you may find a solution. Recognize that feeling anxious is very normal. Don't strive for perfection because that will overburden you. There will be some small perfections. Always love the success that comes with small imperfections also. Earn the right things, act right, cite only authentic information, do not fake data, do not deceive anyone, so you will not have stress. Inhale whenever it is needed, at any time. Take deep breaths in and relieve the breath out. And have that one moment dedicated for yourself. Others will wait for you. Please understand. Meditate, practice good exercises that will help you out to lessen your stress. Envision yourself succeeding in tough situation. Imagine or create certain kind of imagination that you are going there and you will be doing it with confidence and you will getting succeed in something. Please abstain from alcohol or caffeine because they are not the remedies to lessen your stress. They rather will dehydrate you. They will cause bad effects on your health, and that is again going to make situation worse. Don't think of an elephant. When I say this line, everybody in front of eyes of everyone, there is some kind of elephant now, right? So do not overburden yourself in the situation of crisis that, oh my God, I don't want to think about it. I feel pressurized. It's okay. My mind is thinking about that. It's okay. Let us now start focusing on thinking how we can now handle the situation. This is normal. Let it flow naturally. Every situation goes away. Nothing stays permanent in this life. Neither happiness nor sad situations, right? And there is a silver lining to every cloud. So there is always a solution in every problem. So do not pressurize yourself for do this and don't do that. Let your mind decide whatever is good and bad for you. If your mind is not ready for something, give a break to yourself. And when spend time to convince your mind in a positive way, when you are mentally ready, come back and handle that situation. Understand this is very important. I have created a small one here. I will drop that later. Here I'm summarizing what are things we have discussed so far. So we have talked about what are leadership essentials, uh, what are the characteristics, what is
Excuse
leadership
me, ma'am.
exactly. Yes,
The slides are not visible now, ma'am.
not visible. Okay, once again, is
Just
it
now, ma'am.
visible?
No, ma'am. Just
Okay.
now, ma'am. I
Okay.
think there is some network disturbance.
Yeah, no worries. Just tell me, is it visible now?
No,
Is it
ma'am.
visible?
No,
Yes.
ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll just share it again then, I guess. What I'll do then, by that time, I'll just copy the code also. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, ma'am. The presentation window is visible, ma'am.
Okay. Is it visible? Okay, hold on a second. Okay, I have put here a poll. You take your time and just try to give a poll. There are some questions and options given. Just enjoy doing it. Let us see what kind of result comes. I have opened it out here. I don't know about the success ratio. I have done it on experiment basis on a new platform this time, not on the poll.com like usual. I request all of you to, I have put the link in the chat box. Please go through it and access the poll and give your opinions on it. Ma'am, I'm just sharing the screen again here. So you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
see the last slide. Once it's visible, come again immediately. I hope it's visible now, right? Can you see it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, anyway, that was the end of the slideshow of mine, I guess. Can you see the PPT?
No, ma'am. Can I share, ma'am? Just the last
Yeah,
slide.
yeah. Go ahead with it. Yeah, please go ahead. You go please on the summary. By that time, all of you please go for the summary. Yeah, the summary slide of summary. But the slide is also not visible for me.
Not visible, ma'am.
No, I can't see it.
We'll try again, ma'am.
Yes. I'll also try from my side. Give me a moment. No, it's not happening, I guess. Now I don't have right side of sharing the screen. Okay, anyways, until ma'am shares the screen, I am okay. What happened? I'm presenting my screen. Salary showing. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'll redo it. Okay, this is consuming a lot of time, I guess. But you could try doing it from your side and stop sharing from my side.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, if it happens, or else I just summarize. So I'm just summarizing two things here. As what is leadership exactly? We have seen the leadership skills. Then we also have seen uh, various aspects of leadership, planning how to plan your leadership, how to gain those skills, then how to communicate your leadership to others, being a team player, leading by example, researching and contemplating on your success and failure. These are certain things we have seen so far. So thank you so much, all of you. If you have any questions, the session is open for it.